Wow, this issue of Cassandra's Tears doesn't waste any time, does it? Talk about throwing us right into the fire.
Straight into the thick of it.
I mean, we knew things were getting intense, but this issue, number 2, takes us straight to the battle for Yar.
And not just one battle either. The author throws us right into the action with this two-front fight, one in orbit, the other down in the thick atmosphere of Yar itself.
Yeah, the way the author writes those dogfights, you can practically feel the G-forces pushing you back in the cockpit.
It's like the author plucked the best parts of those classic dogfights from history, like the Battle of Britain, and then just launched them into space.
And speaking of space, up above Yar, we've got the Gemini trying to hold off this massive Vanduul flagship.
Let me tell you, that's got to be about as fun as trying to stop a tidal wave with a rowboat. The pressure those guys must be under.
And to make matters even worse, a whole swarm of Vanduul reinforcements show up. You're thinking, okay, here comes the cavalry to save the day, right?
Wrong.
Because then they go and do something totally unexpected. They completely ignore the human fleet and make a beeline straight for some old settlement down on the planet.
Talk about a twist. Really makes you wonder about the Vanduul, doesn't it?
Up until now, they've been about as subtle as a punch to the face. But this changes things. Makes you think there's more to them than we thought.
Absolutely. There's a deeper story here, and I have a feeling that settlement is the key. The question is, what makes it so important to the Vanduul?
And as if things weren't already crazy enough, that's when this new Vanduul ace shows up, Black Talon.
Now, there's a name that sends chills down your spine.
The way the author describes him, he's like a phantom, just slicing through our ships like it's nothing.
Talk about a nightmare. He's flying this jet black Vanduul fighter, all sharp angles and glowing lines, like something out of a nightmare. He's not just fighting, he's putting on a show.
And the worst part is, he's good. Really good.
It's like the author is telling us, hey, you thought you knew what the Vanduul were capable of. Think again. You know, it's almost like he's toying with them.
Yeah, like they're not even a challenge. Which is a scary thought when you consider how outmatched the rest of humanity seems to be in this fight.
Especially the crew of the Gemini. They're still slugging it out with that Vanduul flagship.
I was going to say, we can't forget about them. They're in about as tight a spot as you can get.
Talk about a desperate struggle for survival. The way the author describes it, you're right there with them, feeling every blast, every shudder of the ship as it gets pounded by the Vanduul.
You can practically feel the tension on the bridge, everyone wondering if this is it, if this is how it all ends.
And through it all, you've got Admiral Showalter, just the picture of calm, even with everything going to hell around him.
He's something else, that's for sure.
You really get the sense that he's carrying the weight of every life on that ship, every decision, a matter of life or death.
And he doesn't shy away from those tough calls either.
Yeah.
Remember that scene where he tells his weapons officer, if you have to put on a suit, climb out there and shoot at them with your sidearm, you do it.
Oh, yeah, chills. Talk about leadership under pressure. He knows what's at stake.
Makes you wonder if those are the kinds of choices we'd all have to make if we were ever in a situation like that, facing down an enemy like the Vanduul.
It's a sobering thought, and it makes you realize that this whole conflict, this mystery surrounding that settlement, it's about something much bigger than just a few space battles.
Yeah, it's clear we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg here. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, we've got to talk about that face-off brewing between Cal and this Black Talon character. It's like the calm before the storm. You know, the way the author sets up that encounter, it's electric.
And a nice change of pace from the chaotic brawl happening around the Gemini.
Totally. This is like, what do they call it? Mano a mano?
Exactly. It's a duel, a clash of titans. You've got the best of humanity going up against the best the Vanduul have to offer.
And man, the way the author describes Black Talon's flying,
Yeah.
it's like he's dancing out there, but, you know, a dance of death.
The skill, the precision. He's like a predator toying with its prey.
And that ship of his, it's almost like an extension of himself, all sleek and menacing. It's giving me chills just thinking about it.
Well, it's supposed to. The author is deliberately making Black Talon this almost mythical figure, someone who embodies just how dangerous the Vanduul can be.
And it makes you wonder, if this is what they're throwing at us now, what's next? What else do they have up their sleeve?
That's the thing about this issue. It's not just about the awesome battles, although let's be honest, those are pretty amazing.
You're telling me.
But beyond the action, there's this underlying tension, this sense that we're only scratching the surface of something much bigger, much more dangerous.
That's what makes this whole thing so compelling, right? The mystery of it all. This settlement, Black Talon, what's their connection? What are the Vanduul really after?
It's like the author is dangling all these threads in front of us, these tantalizing hints, and then dot, boom, the issue ends.
Leaving us hanging on the edge of our seats. So, what's the final verdict? If someone's thinking about picking up this issue of Cassandra's Tears, what do you tell them?
I'd say buckle up, because you're in for one heck of a ride. Intense space battles, compelling characters, and a mystery that will leave you dying for the next installment. Trust me, you do not want to miss this one.